It's a song, it's a movie, and it's a book, The Richest Man in Babylon. And that's the book review that we're going to do today. Nice having you here. I will start by reading for you the book that I hope will, sprout your interest when it comes to reading the book. Ahead of you stretches your future like a road leading into the distance. Along that road are ambitions you wish to accomplish, desires you wish to gratify. To bring your ambitions and desires to fulfillment, you must be successful with money. Use the financial principles made clear in the pages which follow. Let them guide you away from the stringencies of a lean purse to a fuller, happier life that a full purse makes possible. Like the law of gravity, they are universal and unchanging. May they prove for you, as they have proven for so many others, a sure key to a fat purse, a larger bank balance, and a gratifying financial progress. That is a very interesting way to start because it sets you in a platform where you see that the book has financial principles, and at the end of the day, the writer is telling us the mission of the book, which is we are looking for a fat purse. I want money. Large bank balances. We all want something in our bank accounts, and the gratifying financial progress that we all wish to have. The Richest Man in Babylon is a book that has around 10 chapters. Through the chapters, you notice that it is a story that builds up from the first chapter to the last chapter. The introduction, we meet a very interesting gentleman by the name Bansa. Bansa is a poor guy who happens to work in chariots. Modern day, we would call them vehicles, cars. And every day he sits down and he wonders, why do I get to work for rich men as much as I do? Why do I repair people's chariots and yet I do not afford a chariot? From a distance, mostly, the wife, is always peeping, trying to see what is my husband doing, how far is he with the chariot that he's repairing, because you find that the husband has to repair a chariot for them to find food. And Bansa is not really happy with that situation. So, this is the first guy we meet in The Richest Man in Babylon. And he sits down to have a chat, a small banter with his friend. And they are always asking themselves, why do we always work for food and clothes? Why can't we have cattle and land just like everyone else? That is where the book starts. That is the scene. And that is the first chapter. These are the questions that me and you mostly ask. We envy people. We ask ourselves, why do they get to live where they live? Why do they get to drive what they drive? Why do they get to go to where they go to? So the book starts with introducing the fears, the questions, everyday affairs of most people. That is the first chapter. The second chapter, we are meeting a very interesting guy. And it's just called The Richest Man in Babylon. So we get to meet Azak. Azak is the richest guy in Babylon. And we get to notice that he's not a guy who was the smartest in his class. He did not come from a very wealthy background. And when his friends approach him, they're actually real. They tell him, but when we were young and we were playing, you were never this awesome. We never foresaw the future that you have. So we get to be introduced to the richest man in Babylon. And he gets now to actually now bring his friends and tell them that, hey, I can tell you how the journey has been. Interestingly, this guy really, again, built his fortune from the simple art of being a good student. In the book, you will, if you get to read, which I would advise you to read after looking at this preview, he talks about the question of luck, the question of procrastination, and the question of acting when you need to act. He says that at a young age, it is one of the things that you should really do. And in the second chapter, he actually confesses that he took advantage of the fact that he was young. And I would leave the other, the other traits and the other things about the richest man in Babylon and his childhood to you, so that you can go and read and get to understand and maybe resonate to him the way I did. Chapter 3, he brings about a very interesting concept of the keywords to a lean pass. Now, what is a lean pass? A lean pass is the pass that only holds money or coins for a few times, for moments. And after that, the money is used to do day-to-day activities. So all the money that you get, you put in your purse, you pay rent, a part of it goes, you buy food, a part of it goes, you buy clothing, a part of it goes, someone is sick, a part of it goes, and that is how your purse grows leaner as you go through the month. The guy introduces the 7 keywords of a lean purse, and looking at them, that is what, in my opinion, makes this book relevant then and now. Because he talks about all the financial principles that either you have learned or you have heard about. Just to mention a few, chapter 3 starts on page 34. And the first one is, first of all, saving. The art of saving, keeping 10% of what you earn. And you need to understand that this is your first investment, and it is supposed to have children, and the children are supposed to have grandchildren, and all of them are supposed to be your slaves. And all of them are supposed to work and give you money. Your money working for you and giving you money, that is what is called interest. That is how they used to coin it in the old language. And looking at the 7 keywords of principles, or the 7 keywords of a lean pass, that is the first one, saving 10%. The second principle he talks about is controlling your expenditure and understanding that if you save 10%, you can actually work with 90%. And he actually now tries to address the issue of how you can work with 90% and forget about the 10%, and how you can just live life forgetting about your investments. The third keyword is multiplying your goals. This book was written around 4,000 years ago. The story is fetched from 4,000 years ago. And at that time, they were thinking about multiplying your gold. Now, for our time and the age, we will talk about getting interest for your money. The fourth keyword is guarding your treasures from loss. And he addresses the issue of investment. How do you invest? Who do you trust with your hard-earned savings? Because at the end of the day, before I tell you that you need to save 10% of your money, I need to also tell you how you're going to invest it. The book is also coming up with a very interesting concept that economists actually would question, and that is investing your money where you are sure that your principal will always come back. You know, there are other investments that we make that we're never sure that, we will have the principals leave alone the interest. So this book is saying that when you're investing or when you're thinking of putting your money somewhere, you need to put it in a place where, one, you are sure that your principal is safe, and then there is reasonable amount of interest that you expect and that is to come. He talks about investing or working with people who are actually experts in that field. Don't go investing or buying gold from someone who works with stones. That is the example they give. So actually that is the fourth one. The fifth keyword is something that I would want to actually build on it as we go along, and it is making thy dwelling a profitable investment. Where do you live? When you look at the rent that you pay and the life that you want to live and the kind of citizen that you are, the question is your dwelling a profitable investment to you? He actually talks about mortgages, and he addresses it in a very unique way that I think you should go and read. The sixth keyword is ensuring a future income. Most people I have heard, and especially this happens to people who are in their 50s or they are seeing retirement coming close by, you notice that they always have a fear of how will the future look like, how secure is my future in terms of the income that I will have once I am out of active work. The richest man in Babylon, that is Isaac, talks about ensuring your future. He talks about going about your investments, knowing what the future will hold. And interestingly, he says that even if you're not the one who will live to enjoy or to live by the security, oh my God, it's getting a bit windy, please forgive that. But he talks about keeping the future secure for not only you, even if you leave the picture, the people that you love, how secure will be their future. So that is something that he talks about. And the seventh keyword, which is very interesting, is increasing your capacity to earn income. He talks about doing beyond what you can do, doing extra, getting extra jobs, earning from your interests, your talents. He actually explores the whole concept of other channels of incomes, which again, for me, it is a topic that has come by like during this time of my life. I didn't grow up knowing that I could have like 7, 8, 9 jobs or streams of income. So it is actually a concept that was there in Babylon, and it is a concept that the richest man in Babylon used. So that is the third chapter, when he gets to share about the keywords of a lean pass. The fourth chapter, which now is the sweetest, he talks about the question that most of us are actually now facing. That is the question of procrastination. In Babylon, interestingly, they used to meet and have banter. And when they met, they used to meet in an open temple. Here, no one was a slave, no one was a master. Everyone had the chance to debate intellectually. And now when it came to the question of procrastination, it was a question that was dealt with in the general public, where everyone was given a platform to share the experience with Lady Luck. And the intertwining of those two things, that is procrastination and how luck works, is addressed in that chapter. And I think if you have an issue with procrastination, I have a friend who calls himself the ambitious procrastinator. The first time I heard that, it was really funny. So this book, actually, if you have an issue with procrastination, I would advise you to get this book and actually read that chapter. The 5 laws of gold, he talks about how money goes about. The gold lender of Babylon, that is the bank, the Shylocker, anyone you can get money from. How do they think? How do they store their money? How do they view you as you go to borrow money from them? It's addressed in that chapter. The walls of Babylon. Here, interestingly, as I have mentioned in one of the keywords to a lean pass, he talks about the question of protection. Babylon knew that it was a city that was envied. It was a city that was desired. And the king knew that for it to be able to stand the test of time, it needed to be well protected from its enemies. And that's why they built very, very strong and high walls. Well, if you have watched enough movies, olden movies, you would know that most kingdoms, war would always start at the wall. Same thing applies to us when it comes to our money. What does it really entail to have a wall around you, a wall of protection? If today you lose your job, if today you are rendered not as good as you are today to offer the service that you offer for your income, how strong are your walls? That is the question that is addressed in that chapter. The camel trader of Babylon. the guy who decided that he will leave the city, go far, and come back. Our brothers who have decided that they are going to leave home, go to the city, move to different countries. The question is, as you move, as you go, what are the principles that you need to go with so that you can be able now to go to the outside world and bring home what you want to bring? That is addressed in that chapter. The clay tablets of Babylon, here we see the financial rules and principles that, are just there. To them, they were written in stone. To us, it is written in a chapter in this book. The luckiest man in Babylon, which is the last topic. The last topic as they draw the picture of Babylon now. The luckiest man in Babylon, my take home after I read that chapter, which now I would leave it open to the comment section. Please tell me what you think about it. But reading The Luckiest Man in Babylon, I noticed that he's a guy who just decided that, guess what? It is work, and it is work. And he decided to have a relationship with work. After reading that topic, I was left in a position where I actually started thinking to myself, how do I view work? Is it something that I love doing? Do I see work as a friend? Or do I see work as a foe who just comes every day to drain me and stop me from enjoying life? So how do you view work is addressed in this chapter, and just looking at the life of the luckiest man in Babylon. So first of all, I hope that at this point you understand that as a young person, the 2,000 shillings that you would spend over in a weekend having fun, if you invest it, it will take you far 20, 30 years from now. The Richest Man in Babylon, for me, the one thing that really touched me to actually say that now I can do a book review is the fact that the guy said that if you want to make wealth, you need to understand that it is a tree. The earlier you plant the seed, the earlier your tree will grow, the earlier you will get the fruits. So, my name is Miss Orare. I hope that from listening to me, you have gained interest in the book. Kindly pull it. It's a very interesting book. It has ancient English. It has simple English, apart from, I think for me, I checked like 10, 20 words up on Google. So it is something that you can actually read. And for young people, young guys who are starting off their families, who are starting off their professions, it's a book that a friend of mine was recommended by the master. Got into a law firm, and the first thing he was told is, you have a week, go read this book. And he actually came and recommended it to me, and I thought it was really cool. And after reading it, I actually realized that as a young person, it has so much information. So I hope to see you next time. Get the book. My comment section is open. If you like this, thumbs up, subscribe. Bye.